Afternoon, guys. So today we're going to look at the area of a triangle. So if I gave you a triangle like this one over here, how would you solve it? So most of you would probably say half base times height. Okay, but obviously we are not doing this. We are doing trig. And so I'm going to label up my triangle the same way I did for the sine and the cosine rule. But this time I'm going to call this A, B, and C, and then just fill out the corresponding angles. So this would be angle C, this would be angle B, and this would be angle A. So how would I now find out the area of a triangle? Well, this time it would be half AB, right? So area would equal half AB. So everyone should recognize this. The only thing we're now going to add is, rather than having a right angle, what would I do if I don't know the angle? So if you don't know the angle, I would then just say sine C. Okay, this would still work with a right angle triangle, because if it was a right angle triangle, you would have half AB sine 90 degrees. Okay, and if any of you felt like popping that into a calculator, sine of 90 degrees is actually just 1. So this would become half AB. Okay, that's usually the way I remember it. I just go, well, it's actually just the bog standard triangle formula, and then all I have to do is sine it by the angle in between. Right? So it's actually pretty simple. So if you ever do forget this, all you have to do is remember the area of a triangle. But now we are going to look at the proof for it as well. This isn't the proof, this is just, I just wanted to show you how it actually works with the area of a triangle. So let's do the proof. Okay, so when we look at this triangle, you're still using exactly the same method. You want to go half base times perpendicular height, right? So my base is 10 centimeters, just there. But do I know the perpendicular height? Could I find it out? Okay, so I don't actually know the perpendicular height, but I could find it out, because if I just use the fact that this is a right angle triangle, I would say, well, this is my angle of 43 degrees. This is my hypotenuse, right? So we're just using basic trig here. And this is my opposite. So this would be, hopefully you guys have seen, that's sine. Okay, so I'm saying sine of 43 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And the thing is, I want to find out what the opposite is. So I've got to rearrange this. So my opposite is the hypotenuse times sine 43 degrees. And instead of the hypotenuse, let's just pop an 8 in there, because that is the hypotenuse. Right? So that is my opposite. So this is my height. I can now pop this into there. So I would say instead of h, I'm now going to pop this in. So I've got 8 times sine 43 degrees. Okay, so, oops, that bracket, just, Okay, so I've got my height, I've got my base. So now all I need to do is do 10 times this. So the area would then equal half times base, which is 10, times 8 times sine 43 degrees. And then from here, you should be able to see this is 10, right? This is 8. And this angle right here is the angle in between. So if I was to label this up, I would have had a triangle where this is my A, this is my B, and this is my angle C, because this would have been the small c and that would have been the angle C, right? So you've got your half AB sine C. And that is one of the proofs that is used to find the sine rule. Okay, so all you essentially need to know is this side, and the angle in between. So as long as I know this side, and the angle in between, I can actually just work stuff out. Okay, so we're going to go through a few examples, and then I'm going to leave you guys with the worksheet. Okay, so let's go through a few examples. I've got this is my 45 degrees, this is 5 centimeters, and this is 7 centimeters. So these are my two sides, this is the angle in between. So I know the area is going to be half AB sine C. Okay, whenever I label up a triangle, I actually make a sketch and I label it. I don't really pay attention to that part unless the question specifically states that I need to find BC or something. If I need to find BC, I will just label it up on my diagram as needs be. But this is my formula, so I'm going to label up the triangle to fit with my formula. Okay, so I've got sine C, so this is my angle, so that's going to be my C. And then these two, does it really matter? A times B. So I could say 4 times 3, or I could say 3 times 4. It doesn't really matter of the order. So either of these could be those, okay? Because I'm not really paying attention to these angles or anything else. The only things I need is A, B, sine C. So as long as you have the two sides and the angle in between, you're A-okay. Okay, so going from here to here just means it's half times 5 times 7 times sine 45 degrees. Where is my trusty calculator? Okay, so let's put half times 5 times 7 times sine 45 degrees. Okay, if you do see it in this form, that is called exact form. I don't know if they want exact form or not. They haven't told me. So I'm just going to pop in a few numbers and then just do it to like 2 decimal place. And remember, it is an area, so you need to ensure you do have centimeters squared in there. Okay? Hopefully that one was A-okay. And then we will look at these two. So for number 2, this is 16 centimeters, 20 centimeters, and this is 19. Okay, so I have my half AB sine C. I'm going to label up this as C and A and B. Okay, because I've got my two sides and the angle in between. So, oh, that S doesn't really look like an S, does it? There you go, better. So this would be half times 20 times 16 times sine 19 degrees. So I've got half. Okay, so I've got 52.0909 dot dot dot. Okay, so that'll be my answer, which is 52.09 centimeters squared to 2 decimal places. Okay, and then this last one, they have given us far too much information. So there's actually several ways of working it out, because they have given you all 3 sides. By giving you 2 of the angles, they have actually given you the third angle. So it's quite easy to work out the third angle as well. So it's entirely up to you how you want to work it out. If you wanted to work out this angle and make it C, you could. sorry, you can do that. Sorry, water's run out. So you can do that. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go for a nice easy one and just call that A and B because I don't need to work that out in order to do it. So labeled my triangle up. I've got half AB sine C. So that is going to be half times 4.2 times 5.3 times sine 80 degrees. Okay, so 4.2 times 3 times sine 80 degrees. 10.96091 dot dot dot. Okay, so you have 10.96 centimeters, right? Yeah, centimeters squared to 2 decimal places. Okay, hopefully that should make sense. So when it comes to the sine rule, obviously you have this, which is kind of simple, but then what they might want to do when you're looking at the sine rule is just branch it out into surface area. So they might give you like a pyramid or something like that, or they might give you something that has several steps where you need to remember Pythagoras theorem. So just be aware that even if it is a sine rule question, the further you move ahead in maths, it doesn't just mean they want just the complicated rules. It means that they require you to remember everything previously as well. So this is a big thing for you guys moving forward. You need to remember that everything previous to this is assumed knowledge. That is the key thing about your GCSEs. Everything previous to what you study is always assumed knowledge, okay? And I will also pop a note into the classroom because we've nearly finished the entirety of the course as well. So please ensure you're reading those notices and you are paying attention. Otherwise, you will just get me doing what I want rather than the stuff that you guys need. Okay? So take care. Enjoy the rest of the day. Like that? Do I do that? Yay!